to make a whole video.
Yes. So how does this differ? I know Microsoft made an offer to acquire Zobni, which is sort of like a social inbox, if you're familiar with that.
Well, Zobni was trying to provide social context in the context of email messages.
Okay.
This is the project we did a year ago, and we actually have, it's this one. So if there is an email message, we have this add-on, which is called Salsa. We showed it last year on TechFest. It's currently deployed internally at Microsoft to about 1,000 daily users. And we found that actually being very useful. It's a little bit different than Zobni. It's putting less emphasis on the statistics and much more emphasis on the feed of the people activity. So as you see here, we integrate activity from multiple sources, from email, from Facebook, from Town Square, from SharePoint, and any other source we can put our hand on.
Cool.
And this is currently being tested internally. So our job as a research group is to collect usage data to evaluate which particular features are really most useful so that we can recommend them for the product group. And this is now being tested and we are in the final phases of the evaluation.
And what was that colorful graph you had showing earlier?
Okay, so this is our this year project. In this year project, what we try to do, instead of working with individual emails, we try to redesign the whole email experience. We figured out that it didn't change in 20 years, so it's time to change it now. And one thing that changed in the last 20 years is the emergence of social networks. This notion that people do not communicate with just anybody, they communicate mostly with their friends, whatever it means.
Right.
So the first step that we did was we took the content, we looked at the inbox, at the content of the mailbox, and we looked which people do you mail, how often do you mail them, and who do you mail together. On this basis, we created this colorful graph, which is my social network. These are the people who are closer to me are most important. Those farther away are a little bit less important. And these sectors represent the group how I mail these people together. So this map is created automatically. Out of my current email data, users can adjust it, so they can adjust how many people are in the map up to the point that some unfamiliar faces start showing up, and they can adjust the group threshold, whether there is fewer groups and larger or more groups and smaller. And most users, we did this study a few years ago, most users with a few little tweaks can find this to be a fairly accurate representation of their social networks. In this project, we allow to go a little bit further. If, for example, I find that my wife should actually be in my family group somewhere here, I can manually move it to the final tweak. So once the groups are set up, and I already have them set up here, this is what I consider the most accurate representation of my social network today. We now apply these groups to organize the email. So what you see on the left are various groups. They match the groups in the personal map. And for each group, you see the overview of the recent activity. There are the people who are most active in the group, and they are recent emails. The latest email may be expanded.
Thank you for attending MSR Public Day TechFest. Please make your way.
I think they're trying to kick me out.
The festival is ending.
Oh, they will let you finish. So this is the latest email. It can be expanded in place to show the preview of the contents, whether it's worth to read it. And some older emails may fade out. And some groups that have very little activity, maybe even on the bottom, they had no activity in the past 3 days. If there is a new email that falls into this category, the group may pop up. If there is no new email, it may get archived and take place of my archive folders as the groups I interacted with in the past. We also try to redesign the inbox design, the basic inbox design.
So this is a separate product from the first thing you showed me, right?
From which?
The first thing you were showing me that you said is near completion. This is a different product?
Well, it is and it is not. The first one was, we call this project Salsa 2.0. The first one was called Salsa. So this is the project we did, the previous one we did a year ago. So it's more advanced in the sense that it was deployed already. This is a new project that we did this year, but it actually builds on the old one. So it uses the same code base, to a large extent, and the advantage is that we can very easily push it to the same users. So we will have a very easy upgrade scenario where we can upgrade users with the new version and test it.
So when the first salsa isn't out yet, though, right?
It's not out as a product yet. It's out for the internal beta testing.
Okay, so it's beta testing. Great. Well, thank you for walking me through this stuff. It looks very cool.